Have you ever noticed how some people seem to shape the world around them without raising a voice, without arguing, without demanding anything? They don't force, they don't plead. They simply step back, and suddenly everything shifts. The atmosphere changes. People start wondering, chasing, questioning, sensing something they can't explain. This is not magic. It's something Lao Tzu understood more than 2,000 years ago. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. The Taoist masters knew the most powerful force in the universe is not loud, aggressive, or frantic. It is silent. It is patient. It is withdrawn from chaos. It is non-action, wu wei, the art of not wasting your essence on battles that do not belong to you. Now imagine if you stopped reacting to everything. Stopped rushing to explain yourself. Stopped being emotionally accessible on demand. What would happen to your world? Here is the truth. When you are always available, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, people rely on your predictability. They tug on your energy the same way one tugs a rope that has never snapped. But the day you withdraw, the day you stop reacting, the rope disappears, and they fall into their own emptiness. This is the moment Lao Tzu spoke of, when your stillness exposes the turbulence in others. Because the one who does not react becomes impossible to control. And those who thought they understood you suddenly realize they only understood the version of you that was easy to reach, easy to drain, easy to shape. Today, that version dies. Today, a different path begins. The Taoist path of becoming untouchable through silence and inner withdrawal. You have spent your entire life being told to be present, to respond quickly, to smooth over conflicts, to say yes even when your spirit whispered no. Since childhood, you were conditioned to believe your worth depended on how available you were to others, how much of yourself you gave away. But Lao Tzu warns us, if you care too much about the approval of others, you become their prisoner. Excessive availability is not kindness. It is a subtle self-betrayal, a silent abandonment of your own Tao, your natural path, your inner flow. Because when you respond instantly, when you rush to help, when you indulge in every conversation, every crisis, every emotional storm that isn't yours, you are letting the world use your spirit as an open well. And a well that is always accessible is a well that is eventually emptied. People who demand your constant presence do not want you. They want what you provide: validation, comfort, attention, distraction from their own imbalance. Taoism teaches that everything which becomes too abundant loses its value. What is always there becomes invisible. What is always reachable becomes taken for granted. Your availability becomes your curse. Lao Tzu spoke of the persona in a different way than Jung, yet the idea is the same. You wear a mask for the world. A mask that smiles when you're exhausted. A mask that pretends peace when you're quietly drowning. A mask that says, it's fine when your spirit is collapsing. But the more you live for the world's gaze, the more you vanish from your own life. Being endlessly available is not virtue. It is forgetting the Tao, and forgetting the Tao is forgetting yourself. Lao Tzu never saw the human mind as something meant to be tossed around by every passing emotion or provocation. He believed the spirit, the key, is a finite reservoir. Every thought, every reaction, every word you speak draws from it. So the real question becomes, are you choosing where your energy flows, or has the world quietly taken that choice from you? Every time you respond impulsively, every time you defend yourself against a comment that didn't deserve breath, every time you get dragged into an argument just to prove you're right, every time you soothe someone who refuses to soothe themselves, you are spilling your key, you are emptying your inner well. And in the eyes of Taoism, this is the deepest form of imbalance. Because the one who cannot conserve their energy becomes vulnerable, and the vulnerable become easy to manipulate. Not through force, but through subtle emotional gravity. People who sense you react quickly will push your buttons without realizing it. People who know you rush to help will lean on you even when they can stand. People who see you constantly offering your presence will assume you don't value it yourself. Lao Tzu teaches, "He who conquers others is strong, but he who conquers himself is mighty." Mastery begins with conservation. When your energy is scattered, you become reactive, frail, predictable. But when you guard your ki, when you stop giving your power away in fragments, you generate an inner presence that intimidates without a word. Now the world cannot move you so easily. Now the noise of others no longer determines the rhythm of your heart. And this is where something darker begins to surface, the silent ways people feed off your availability. People think manipulation happens through shouting, pressure, or obvious control. But Taoism teaches something far more unsettling. The most effective manipulation happens quietly, subtly, beneath awareness, through the predictability of your reactions. Lao Tzu said, "The world is won by those who let it be." But the hidden truth is this: the world is also lost by those who cannot let anything be. Opportunistic people don't need to raise their voices. They don't need to threaten you. They simply learn your triggers, the emotional levers you leave exposed, and they tap them lightly. And you react, always, faithfully, predictably. They know that if they sigh, you will comfort them. If they withdraw, you will chase. If they look disappointed, you will explain yourself. If they act hurt, you will apologize for things you didn't even do. Lao Tzu spoke of projections differently than Western thinkers, but the principle is the same. People don't see you. They see the use of you. You become a vessel for their expectations, a character in their emotional script, and as long as you keep responding the same way, the illusion holds. And why do you play along? Fear. Fear of losing people. Fear of appearing cold. Fear of disappointing someone. Fear of being alone with yourself. But here is the Taoist paradox. When you stop reacting, when you withdraw, when you choose silence instead of emotional acrobatics, their projections collapse. Their script falls apart. Their sense of control dissolves. And this is when you truly start to see people, not as they pretend to be, but as they are. When you withdraw, people panic, not because they miss you, but because your silence removes the storyline they were using to manage their own emotions. Lao Tzu said, "Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water becomes clear?" Your silence forces others to confront their own muddy waters. Because as long as you are reacting, explaining, pleasing, reassuring, defending, you are absorbing their chaos for them. You are carrying storms that were never yours to carry. But when you stop, when you let the mud settle, when you refuse to be swept into every emotional current, something extraordinary happens. People who fed on your reaction suddenly see themselves. People who relied on your emotional labor suddenly feel their own weight. People who used your predictability for control suddenly face the void of their own imbalance. And this is why silence terrifies them. Not because you became distant, but because your distance exposes their dependency. True Taoist silence is not passive, it is active. It is a mirror that reflects everything back to its source. This is why some will accuse you of being cold. Some will dramatize your absence. Some will demand explanations. Some will try to provoke you back into the old reactive patterns that kept them comfortable. But it is not you they are fighting. It is their own reflection, a reflection your silence finally made impossible to avoid. The Tao says, if you remain unmoved, the world cannot shake you. Your silence becomes a force. Your absence becomes a revelation. And your refusal to react becomes the first step toward reclaiming your life. The modern world worships noise, fast responses, constant availability, endless commentary. Everyone wants to speak. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to win arguments that do not matter. But Taoism teaches a different truth. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is power. Lao Tzu said, silence is a source of great strength, not the silence of fear, not the silence of avoidance, but the silence born from clarity, the silence of someone who no longer wastes their ki on battles beneath their spirit. True silence is not withdrawal from life. It is withdrawal from pointless struggle. When you stop reacting, you begin observing. And when you observe, patterns appear that were once invisible. You start noticing who drains you. You start noticing who only comes when they need something. You start noticing whose storms you've been calming for years. You start noticing the cycles, the same emotional traps repeating. Silence brings lucidity. And lucidity unsettles those who prefer you confused. Have you ever noticed how certain people panic when you don't respond? How they send follow-up messages? How their tone shifts when you don't jump at their emotional snap? It's not affection. It's not missing you. It's the fear of losing their grip on your energy. Because while you speak, while you react, while you defend yourself, you are still playing their game. But when you go silent, the game falls apart. Your silence rewrites the rules. Your lack of reaction dismantles their control. And that is why the world fears the quiet ones. Not because they disappear, but because they return to themselves. But understand this clearly. Silence does not come without a price. When you choose to be selective with your energy, you will unsettle people who only valued you for what you offered, not for who you were. Lao Tzu warned, when you let go of what you are, you become what you might be. But becoming what you might be requires losing what never belonged to you. Your silence will confuse some. It will anger others. It will disappoint those who relied on your emotional labor. To them, you are no longer functional, no longer predictable, no longer easily swayed. They will say you've changed. They will say you've become cold. They may even say you're arrogant. But their accusations reveal more about their dependency than your transformation. Because your silence is not a punishment. It is a recalibration, a return to your center. Taoism teaches that every word is an energetic investment. Every reaction costs vitality. Every defense drains your spirit. So when you decide to speak less, explain less, justify less, engage less, you are not withdrawing from life. You are withdrawing from nonsense. Those who thrived on your availability will call this selfishness. But it is not selfish to protect your key. It is wisdom. Lao Tzu said, "He who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble." Your silence is your stop, your boundary, your sacred return to balance. People will challenge it because silence exposes their truth, and truth is uncomfortable for those who live off your emotional noise. But discomfort is the doorway. It is the beginning of your Tao. Now comes the hardest part of the Taoist path, learning to hold your center even when others try to pull you out of it. When you stop being emotionally available, the world notices. Not because they truly crave your presence, but because your absence removes the comfort they quietly extracted from you. Lao Tzu teaches, when nothing is relied upon, nothing can be taken from you. But most people rely on you more than you realize. They rely on your willingness to listen. They rely on your tendency to explain. They rely on your instinct to reassure. They rely on your inability to detach. So when you withdraw, when you no longer engage on command, you disrupt their internal structure. Without your energy propping them up, their insecurities rise to the surface. This is why they push back. They will poke your wounds to pull you into a reaction. They will provoke you with silence to make you chase. They will drip guilt like poison, hoping you swallow it. They will create small conflicts to lure you into emotional negotiation. But Taoism says, responding to provocation is like adding fuel to fire. Your reaction is the oxygen they need. Your silence is the suffocation of their game. And so the more you withhold your energy, the clearer people's intentions become. Some will step back respectfully. Some will reveal their true character. Some will crumble without your attention. Some will rage against your stillness. All of these responses are revelations. Your silence becomes a sacred filter, removing what never aligned with your path. This clarity is uncomfortable, but it is the beginning of everything you are meant to become. As you continue along this Taoist path, you will notice a peculiar shift. The world grows louder, not in sound, but in demand. People who once flowed around your presence like water, now surge against your absence like a storm. Their reactions are not about you. They are about their dependence on your energy, their reliance on your predictability, their need for the familiar currents you once provided. Lao Tzu said, "He who stands on tiptoe does not stand firm. He who stretches his legs does not walk far. Your stillness is the tiptoe they cannot reach. Your withdrawal is the extension of your roots into the earth. And just like a tree, your strength lies in what is unseen, the foundation, not the noise above. Expect resistance. Expect agitation. Expect subtle sabotage. They will test whether you truly mean your silence. But here's the paradox of Tao. The more you remain centered, the less they can move you. Your calm is a mirror reflecting their own unrest. Your non-reaction is a teacher showing them the futility of their pull. Some will leave. Some will linger uncomfortably. Some will rage. But all are offering insight, the world's way of revealing who is aligned with the Tao and who is not. Your task is simple, yet arduous. Continue to return to your center again and again. Do not flinch. Do not explain. Do not justify. Because every reaction you withhold is a reclamation of your essence. Every moment you remain unmoved is a step closer to the Tao within you, the infinite river that cannot be diverted by the demands of the shallow world. As your practice deepens, you will begin to notice an even subtler truth. The world does not only pull at your energy. It attempts to define it. They will speak of who you should be. They will label your withdrawal as coldness, arrogance, or selfishness. They will insist that your availability is proof of virtue, and your silence is evidence of failing. Lao Tzu reminds us, care about what others think, and you will always be their prisoner. When you stop caring, when you stop bending to the invisible scripts of expectation, a strange freedom emerges. You are no longer a character in their story. You are the river flowing beneath the bridge, indifferent to who crosses above you. This is the essence of Wu Wei, action through inaction. Not avoidance, but alignment. Not apathy, but clarity. Your withdrawal becomes a crucible. Each test, each provocation, each subtle demand is an opportunity to see clearly. Where does your energy belong, and where has it been misallocated? Do not mistake this path for isolation. The Tao does not reject connection, it rejects misuse. The Master does not scatter ki on the unworthy. The Master directs it toward harmony, toward balance, toward the flow of life itself. Every moment you hold your center, every moment you do not react to the pull of others, you reclaim your power. Every instance of silence is a lesson to yourself and to those who would drain you, that true strength is invisible, immeasurable, and unshakable. The path ahead grows narrower, yet more luminous. The river of your life flows clear, and only what belongs can remain. At this stage, you will encounter the most challenging tests of the Taoist path, the subtle seductions of familiarity. People who thrived on your reactivity will attempt to draw you back. They will offer praise disguised as friendship. They will charm you with memories of comfort. They will wrap obligations in the cloak of love, expecting you to resume your old patterns. Lao Tzu said, "He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough." You must recognize that these are not attacks. They are mirrors. They reflect the same tendencies you once allowed to rule your life: the desire to please, the fear of loss, the compulsion to validate. Here is the Taoist teaching: what is truly yours cannot be taken, and what is not yours cannot be retained. Your energy is not a currency to be spent at the whims of others. It is a sacred river, flowing according to its own course. The more you preserve it, the more it nourishes what truly matters: your clarity, your path, your inner alignment. Some will resent your boundaries. Some will mourn the loss of their control. Some will try to tempt you back with fleeting comforts. But remember, comfort without balance is chaos disguised as ease. Every refusal, Every moment of stillness, every choice to conserve your energy is an act of devotion, not to them, but to the Tao within you. The Master's silence is a teaching. The Master's withdrawal is a guidance. The Master's calm is a fortress. And the world, in its turbulence, cannot enter that fortress unless invited. As your journey continues, you will begin to understand an even deeper principle of Taoism, that true power is invisible, and influence comes from presence, not effort. Those who once relied on your constant energy will begin to sense a change. They will feel it in the pauses between your words, in the unbroken calm of your spirit, in the quiet refusal to react. Their attempts to control, to provoke, to guilt, all will lose their potency. Lao Tzu said, "A leader is best when people barely know he exists. Not so good when people obey and acclaim him. Worst when they despise him. Your power, like the river, is subtle. It does not force, it flows. It does not shout, it sustains. The less you push, the more the world moves around you naturally, revealing truths that were invisible before. This is the Taoist mastery of influence, the ability to affect outcomes not by struggle, but by balance. Not by doing everything, but by doing nothing that disrupts your center. Not by reacting to storms, but by allowing them to pass, untouched. And in this calm, clarity emerges. You begin to see the people who are aligned with the Tao, who respect energy, who understand presence. You see those who are chaotic, manipulative, or dependent, and you no longer mistake their drama for connection. Every silent refusal, every careful withdrawal, every moment of centered non-action becomes a lesson, a revelation, both to you and to those who thought they understood the flow of your life. The path is narrow yet luminous. The Tao moves, and you move with it, unshaken, unclaimed, and profoundly free. At this stage, a profound realization begins to emerge. The world will never truly leave you alone, and that is exactly the lesson the Tao offers. Even as you conserve your energy, even as you hold your center, there will be waves, small ripples, and sudden storms, testing your resolve. People will attempt to draw you back into old patterns. Situations will arise demanding immediate reaction. Emotions, both yours and others, will press like wind against a door that refuses to open. Lao Tzu said, "Be still like a mountain and flow like a great river." Stillness is not passive. Stillness is not surrender. It is an active engagement with the Tao, a clarity so deep that no external force can divert your course. Your calm does not come from avoidance, but from mastery. Your withdrawal is not rejection, but alignment. This is the Taoist paradox. The more you remain present in absence, the more you influence the world. Your silence teaches. Your boundaries instruct. Your non-reaction illuminates the futility of the chaos around you. And slowly, imperceptibly, the river of your life clears. What once pulled at you, trivial demands, manipulations, expectations, drifts away. What remains is essential, aligned, true. Your ki, once scattered and spent, now moves freely, undisturbed, unstoppable. The currents of your life no longer bend to the whims of others. They follow the Tao within you. And here you begin to understand the ultimate Taoist power, invisibility, strength without struggle, influence without effort, presence without imposition. Now, you approach the final refinement of the Taoist path, the understanding that true mastery lies not in resisting the world, but in harmonizing with it while remaining untouched. Many will still misunderstand your silence. Some will call it arrogance. Some will call it detachment. Some will attempt to provoke you into proving that you care. But their words are echoes of their own unrest, not reflections of your reality. Lao Tzu said, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." Your mastery is not proven through action, argument, or explanation. It is proven through stillness, through alignment, through the unshakable flow of your ki. Every temptation to react, every push from others, is an opportunity to deepen your inner calm. Every provocation is a chance to reaffirm your boundaries and conserve your energy. At this point, the Taoist path becomes self-reinforcing. The less you react, the more clarity you gain. The less you expend energy on external drama, the more your life moves in harmony with the natural flow. The less you chase validation, the more value your presence holds. And then, a quiet miracle occurs. The world respects you without realizing it. People feel your steadiness. Situations settle naturally. The currents you once struggled against now flow around you effortlessly. This is the essence of Taoist sovereignty. Influence without aggression, power without struggle, presence without demand. It is not taught in words. It is lived silently, in every withheld reaction, every centered choice, every moment of stillness that aligns with your Tao. Finally, you arrive at the culmination of the Taoist path, the realization that your true power has always been within, untouched by the noise, unaffected by the chaos, and invisible to those who cannot see it. The world may continue to pull, prod, and demand. Old patterns may attempt to resurface. But you are no longer a river that leaks energy at every turn. You are a river that flows purposefully, quietly, inevitably. Lao Tzu said, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power." Every moment of silence, every withdrawal of energy, every refusal to react has built this mastery. You have reclaimed what was scattered, honored what is yours, and let go of what was never meant to be carried. You now move through life like the wind through the trees, present, influential, and yet untouchable. Those who attempt to control you discover that their leverage no longer exists. Those who misunderstand you are revealed to themselves. And those who are aligned with the Tao walk alongside you, naturally, effortlessly. This is the Taoist way, the power of non-action, the sovereignty of inner stillness, the freedom that arises when you stop reacting and start flowing. If this resonates with you, and you wish to continue walking the Taoist path of clarity, stillness, and inner sovereignty, subscribe to the channel. Join others who are learning to move quietly, yet powerfully, through life. Your silence is not emptiness. Your withdrawal is not absence. Your stillness is your strength.